Yo,
Yo, little bro,
what's up, bro?
man, you know what it is. Trying to stay on afloat right now.
Man, listen, man. But listen, you've been busy though. So
I have been busy. I've been blessed, man. So
yeah,
yeah, it's been cool. I mean, it ain't like us playing live right now,
yeah, for sure.
but
How's it been different in terms of like, does it? Do you feel a noticeable difference? I'm sure because you've been in big stadiums and everything like that. But where do you find the ability to still like perform? It's the difference between practicing and actually performing. Is it just feeding off of everybody else's energy at that point?
you know what it is. You know, we
Yeah.
were supposed to play in North Carolina. I mean, North
Cali, yeah, North
California.
Cali.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that got canceled. We were looking forward to doing that, man.
Yeah.
What was that? Who was that going to be with? What show was that
21
with?
Savage.
Yeah, man, I
Yeah,
was
we were
looking
about to
forward to that.
oh, we were about to turn.
The last one we did like that was Cincinnati,
Yes.
your
That was crazy.
hometown.
Yeah, that was a crazy situation all the way around too.
Yo, I was
Golly.
happy to be there with you, at your home, you know what I'm saying? Represent
Yeah.
with you and all.
Yeah, it was cool because it kind of collided two worlds because I've seen you on the big stage, I've seen Erica on the big stage, and then I've done my own thing, so for those two worlds to meet and in my hometown, it was crazy. It was
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, you
Um,
smashed it too.
I appreciate it, bro. I was playing Space from the Heartbeat earlier before you joined in. People were
Ah,
digging it.
yeah.
Yeah, they were like, "Yo, where can I check that out?" So I got to ask me some Heartbeat questions as well.
Okay.
I have a bunch of things I want to ask you. Some are just from my perspective, personally being selfish, but um, other than that, I know there are going to be a lot of people who tune in who are going to be looking to get some information to help them in their career. So I don't want to, not ask certain questions. So I'm saying that in advance.
Oh yeah,
So you're
we
like,
we
I
we
told little bro that before. I definitely want to get people in tune with kind of the way we communicate. That's really the whole,
Oh yeah, and we here to
purpose.
help. We here to help. Whatever
Yeah,
we can
man.
do too.
So I want to ask you about Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Okay.
So that history is a pretty significant history, and I started thinking about it from a bunch of different terms. But I remember Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. They won the first Grammy ever for
Mm-hmm.
rap. So it's
Right.
like, that plus the Philly connection. But I wanted to ask what that was like, what early touring with rap looked like in the performance realm. Like, what was your involvement with that? How was the set the scene for me and everybody else?
Well, it was crazy because first of all, me and Will went to Overbrook High School. So, I mean, he's older than me. So he was in his last year of high school when I was coming in.
Okay.
And we didn't know each other, nothing like that. I was just kind of looking at him like, wow, that's Will Smith, you know what I'm saying? Like Fresh Prince, because that first record had already been out. So he was rolling.
Oh wow.
He was hanging outside the school with his red Camaro with the top down, just like the videos, you know what I'm saying? With the glasses and the high top fade and the Lecoq sportive sweatsuit, just fly, So I was like, yo, they go Will Smith. And didn't realize later on, like maybe a year or two later, I hooked up with Jazzy Jeff and went to his studio. He was like, man, I want to incorporate some live band stuff with what we do. Jeff has always been more of more than a DJ.
Yeah.
He's a musician as well. Like, his mind, the way he thinks, his tracks, you would think that he could play keys or play guitar or play bass or drums, but
Yeah.
he got it there. And of course, he's one of the dopest DJs. And so I went down to the studio, man. We were vibing. I started suggesting bringing other cats down to the studio, and a touch of jazz. That's how a lot of that production came about. Was like the collaboration of Jazzy Jeff with the live musicians and the producers and all
Mm,
like that. So, they went on to do Scott's first record and all.
yeah.
And I was actually at Berkeley by that time because I was 19. So maybe the next year is when I started coming back to Philly and working with Jeff.
Wow.
And one thing led to another. They got asked to do the American Music Awards in 1994, and Jeff was like, "Yo, I want to take a small band." So he was like, "I want you to come, and I want to bring James Poyser." So it was just me and James on keys and drums. You know, if you look at the video, I'm standing up. I made up a drum set that I could stand up on because I don't know what it was. I just wanted to stand up, you know. And it's like a real old video on
Oh
YouTube. I
man, I
can't
gotta
find
find
it.
it.
It's just one of them, and like the syncing is all messed up and stuff too. But you can see it's in there. And
Wow.
ever since then, man, you know, it's been cool with Jeff. And then Will hit me like a few years. When did Will hit me? Sometime in 2000, some Men in Black 2 was
Okay.
getting ready to come out. And Will hit me while I was in LA doing some other records and was like, yo, I want you to play on this song, man. It's going to be crazy, man. I'm trying to do like this rock sounding joint, you know. I didn't know it was going to be for Men in Black. And then when I got to the studio, we were vibing, me, him, and Jada Pinkett Smith. It was just the three of us in there. And we were doing this rock song. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. You know, if you go listen to it, it's called Nod Your Head.
Wow.
And I did a few takes of that, man. We were in the studio just vibing and stuff. And he was like, yo, this is going to be the song. This is going to be the theme song for Men in Black 2. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So that's just a little taste of like
Yeah.
the Philly history that I've had, Will and Jeff. And
yeah,
it just, so much Philly history comes from that, as well as Atlanta.
Well, I want to ask you more about the Philly history because, you know, I always, you know, when you watch episodes of programs like Unsung or you see biographies on people, you know, in the music industry, you quickly learn Philly is a hotbed for talent of all, you know, sorts. And I was just curious because, like, coming from a smaller town like Cincinnati, I guess, you don't necessarily grow up feeling like, yeah, I can make it in music. You know what I'm saying? You might love music, but you might consider something else in case it doesn't work out. I'm curious, from your standpoint, growing up in Philly, before going to Berkeley and everything, did that always feel like it was a dream that you could accomplish? Was that the vibe in the city?
Absolutely. Philly is a music town. It's an arts town. So from our young age, man, we were like getting into it. I was playing at my dad's church. That's how everything started, was playing in my dad's church. And then I started playing in the high school jazz band and all that stuff. So I was venturing off from gospel music and playing jazz and, you know, getting to know people, playing around the city. Went Marcellus came to my high school. You know, Miles Davis came to my high school. Sun Ra came. So we were exposed to a lot of stuff at an early age.
Yeah.
I was doing records at like 16 years old with like Walter Hawkins and Edwin Hawkins, and
Wow.
like I was doing gospel records. And
Yeah.
and then from there I started going into the more jazz world. I was wearing the suits and ties and stuff, you know, Wynton and all. And you know, he had a certain mold that he was, you know, representing. So he had us doing it. He was just like, y'all got to be sharp. Y'all got to study this music. You know, he was on us, you know, and I appreciated that about him. Some things he was, you know, had us thinking back then that I wasn't totally, what do you say? I wasn't agreeing with everything that he said, you know, because he was really strict about jazz music. And I was like, man, but I like James Brown. You know, me and Chris McBride, Questlove, all of us used to listen to James Brown like all day long with our headphones on. We walking around listening, yo, you hear that beat? We go play it. You know, so we wanted to play other music as well.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was clashing with me as far as his theory about music back then. And you know what, later on, just, you know, so I can clear the air about him, he hit me up. I went down to a show that he was playing in Atlanta. And I went to his backstage in his dressing room and he said, Lil John, I want to apologize to you. Wow. And I'm like, for what, man? He was like, because when y'all were younger, I used to tell y'all things and, you know, I was wrong. He was like, I wasn't open to other music like I should have been. And I was like, dang, he's apologizing to me for this? I didn't really think nothing of it because, you know, I was thinking for myself.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, you know, like I was trying to keep you guys away from playing pop music and jet funk music and all that kind of stuff. He's like, man, music is music, man. If you can make a living off of it too, go ahead and do that. And he said, I'm very proud of what you've done. He knew I was playing with Janet and all that kind of stuff. He was like, proud of you, man. I see what you've been doing. And you didn't really listen to what I said anyway. But yeah, Wynton's always been like a big brother, man. I love him. I love the whole Marcellus family. They looked out when we were young.
So you brought up jazz, which is another nice subject that I wanted to talk about because I've always been curious about when I used to think about jazz, I used to think about the openness of it, you know, kind of just vibing.
Hmm.
And I always wondered, because once I started learning how to write records for the sake of like for other people and everything, there was a method that I had to go through to commit to in order to kind of come up with a consistent result. When you're composing from a jazz standpoint, and even when you're allowing jazz to be the type of music that you want to really get into and study, where do you draw the line between that part of jazz that's like the improv part, you know, where you do the 2 minute solo, and the part that's really regimented in order to get a record done and get all of the pieces locked in?
You mean just in jazz we're talking
Just
about?
just in jazz, yes.
Man, there's so many different levels of it. You
Yeah.
know, there's the improvisational level of it. There's the sophisticated side of it where you really got to study that stuff. You can't be pussyfooting on jazz music. You know what I'm saying? Like some
Yeah.
people will, but the real jazz heads and the real, strict jazz, listeners, they'll know if you've been studying or not. So you can't be faking the funk with them. Man, I played at Blue Note in January before COVID started and everything. We had a reunion with Joey DeFrancesco, myself, Chris McBride, and Kurt Rosenwinkel, who was we were all playing together when we were teenagers. Those guys have been playing straight ahead jazz since we were kids up till now. I have been doing other things. I ain't been just playing jazz all these years. You know what I'm saying? I could do
Yeah.
it, but I wasn't eating and breathing it every day like them.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge for me. I went and practiced like for the few weeks before, like trying to get my shit up and everything, like get back to that world, because I knew that wasn't my world, because I haven't been in it in a while. So, man, it was a challenge, but it was a great challenge for me. And I think I came through, from the smiles on all of their faces and the
Yeah.
audience's face, so I came through and did that. But I had to go into my shed, man, and like really get that swing back down. We playing fast songs and stuff, 300 BPM straight ahead stuff. Like, you got to be doing that to
Yeah.
doing it without sweating and
Yep.
about to die.
Yeah. I was watching The Last Dance, and Michael, it was talking about how Michael had stepped away and was playing baseball, and when he came back into basketball, he made a point to say, look, it's not the same body type you need. It's not the same, situation. So it took him a while. So it brought that up, because it's like, I can see how with different styles of music you kind of become conditioned,
Right.
muscle memory wise and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
And that's for any style. If you haven't been on tour for a minute and you go out there, man, you gotta be in shape, bro. Too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta be your vocals gotta be on point. You gotta be fit to do that every night for 2 hours or whatever, travel to the next city. Don't get too much sleep. The next day you're at the next city. You got sound check by 2-3 o'clock. And you got to do it all over again. So it's like we're athletes,
Yeah.
So this last tour that I had done with Janet, man, I was like, whoo, I got to work out, man. Like,
Wow.
while we were at rehearsals, we were riding the bikes and everything. Like, we were just trying to get our stamina up to keep up with the tour that we were getting ready to do, because we were getting ready to do like a good 5-6 months straight.
Wow.
Nonstop. So that's why Janet, she likes to rehearse 2-3 months ahead of the tour.
Yeah.
Just to get everybody going, get her going, get the dancers going, get the band tight, So by the time we hit the first show we get kinks out, but by the time we get the wheel turning,
Yeah.
it's a well-oiled machine by the next week after we start, we
Yeah.
rolling, and it's just like clockwork at that point.
Man, for everybody tuning in, I am having a candid Q&A 101 with my big bro, Lil John Roberts. Check in when you can. Let us know where you are. I see people saying what's up. I don't want to ignore them. So what up,
y'all?
everybody? Lamaris, everybody all over that place. We got Montreal in the house. South Africa's in here, everything.
Man, you came to the show in Canada too.
Yeah, I came to the show.
What was it, with Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we had a good time. Did I get to introduce you to Janet?
I don't think so. I forget what was going on. I think
she had to roll out. It was pretty fast or something. Or we wound up just going to the after party. We was trying to hang out.
Yeah, basically. So look, we talked about, so there's the Gospel Foundation, and I wanted to ask you about that as well, because that's a foundation that a lot of drummers come from. but I think that there are certain things, like there's a terminology, right? When it comes to musicians who kind of haven't been able to transform whatever they've learned in that foundation to music outside of the gospel
Right.
realm. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm putting it in a way to where, you know, it makes the most sense. But as you're learning other forms of music, and I don't know if Berkeley had a role in this at all and what you experienced there, because I wanted to get your take on that as well. But how are you able to take that foundation, learn other styles of music, and kind of have them all coexist? Because I feel like it doesn't matter the genre, you're able to go into the genre and, you know, and kill it. So it's like, and I don't experience that with a lot of drummers, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
So,
right.
you know,
Shout out to my boy Steve Williams. He's in here. He's from Ohio.
oh
Drummer
wow,
Steve
what up?
Williams. Remember, his dad was helping us on stage at the show.
Yo!
That's Steve Williams' dad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Steve
Crazy.
used to play on the Bobby Jones show and everything, man. He's a
Oh,
dope drummer from Ohio. What
oh
up, bro?
wow. What up, Ohio? What up,
But yeah,
Cincinnati?
since you mentioned that about gospel drummers, man, and I hope nobody throws tomatoes at me, but I only tell it like it is. I really tell the truth, and people will say, you know, if you want the truth, ask John. He'll tell you, you know, if you want the full truth. But being a gospel drummer coming from the church, some drummers learn how to play other styles of music, and some drummers just play gospel music. Not to take anything away from gospel music, because that is a very difficult style of music to play if you're not used to playing it.
Yeah.
There's a discipline, there's a format that you have to know. You know, cats will know if you can play church when you sit down. They'd be like, you know, you got to know how to play the hymns. You got to know how to play these Israel and New Breed, Fred Hammond type stuff, you know, with a lot of chops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then some cats stay in that box and don't listen to jazz per se, like real heavy jazz or pop music. And one thing that I made sure that I did is to listen to every style of music, because I wanted to be able to be a chameleon in any situation. If I got called to play with Terrence Trent D'Arby, or if I got a chance to play with Shania, what's her name, Shania Twain or something,
Yeah.
like, you know, I could make the different changes and not sound the same in every style, you know, and not every genre. So I'd always tried to make sure that I could play those styles of music, and not every drummer did that. So, you know, the certain style, the gospel style is a thing. It's a hump. It's, you know, it feels good. It's all about feel too for gospel music first.
Yeah.
Because it's spiritual music and everybody has to feel it first. Like Hezekiah Walker, and Hezekiah Walker stuff always sound like a house song, you know. You know, like they like that Brooklyn, New York style was very house oriented, or kind of New Jack Swing. You know, like my boys Gerald Hayward and all of them, they were famous for playing that New York style, and they're great at it. You know, and shout out to Gerald, like he was one of the ones that didn't leave the church, but he's one of the ones that ventured off and started playing with Guy and Blackstreet and all these famous R&B groups at that time, while we were still teenagers and like churching on, watching him jump into the secular world, you know, which in some churches was like,
I was gonna say, oh, okay.
Y'all don't need to be playing that devil's music, you know?
Yeah.
But as you know, for me, I was like, man, it's all music to me. It just depends on how you represent yourself when you're out there.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned as I got older how to, you know, have how to represent myself the right way, and still believe, you know, in my spirituality, God, my religion, you know, represent the church and all like that, because people are watching you wherever you go.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could still play that music and not be a part of that music. You know,
Yeah,
I was on tour with R. Kelly and them, like Salt and Pepper, Bump and Grind. I was on the Bump and Grind tour with R. Kelly and Salt and Pepper.
Wow.
And I was playing with, it was either Escape or Monica. I can't remember who I was on tour with, but we were opening up for that tour. Okay. And I saw a lot, you know, that was like one of the first tours I did while I was in Atlanta in like 94. Okay. 95, like right before I went out with Janet, I was doing some of the R&B stuff with Escape and Monica and Goody Mob, you know. But I saw a lot of things going on, man. You could get caught up in it, or you could just be like, you know what? I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to do my job and keep it moving, make my money, you know. So I just felt like people needed to be a little more open about church music versus secular music, because that's a whole subject that people, you know,
Yeah.
it used to be a battle about. And I just, you know, my opinion is music, and that's how we make a living.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so take me to Boston, because I've heard some stories uh in which you've discussed like all the different talented people that were there around the time you were there, Roy Hargrove and
Yeah.
all the other folks. So it's like I remember you telling me there was a spot that you all used to go and play at. What was the
Yep.
name of that spot?
Wally's.
Wally's.
Wally's. Yep. And that was like where we got our we honed our craft at Wally's, man. We were getting paid $15-20 to play for 4 hours, man. You know, this is like old school. Like,
Yeah.
Wally himself was still alive when I was playing there. The owner, Wally,
Yeah.
he was like 90 some years old, still kicking it. You know, his nephews helped run the place, so I was really cool with the nephews. It was like family. And I told Wally one night, because Wally was strict about straight ahead jazz. I just want jazz. I don't want nothing, nothing else here. I want straight ahead jazz. You know, he was strict about that. And so one night I came to Wally. I said, Wally, I used to say, Uncle Wally, well, how would you feel if I did like a funk night? You know, he was like, no funk. I don't want no funk night. I'm like, but it'll still be jazzy, like kind of Herbie Hancock mixed with, you know, Headhunters kind of stuff. Weather Report, you know, he knows all these names. So he was just like, And then his nephews kicked in and was like, yeah, Pops, you know, John, man, if they come in here and like flip it up, it might bring a whole nother vibe to the spot. You know,
Yeah.
me, my boy Richie Goods, who's the bass player. We were all in Boston at the same time. Jeffrey Lockhart, amazing guitar player. Anthony Wanzi, who was
Oh
amazing
yeah.
jazz keyboard player, but we made him play Rhodes. He hated it, but he would kill on Rhodes. And so we were like, we're gonna do like this Herbie mix stuff, you know, play some Freddie Hubbard stuff and mix it in, put some funk beats on it and everything like that. So that was our vibe. And so Wally said, okay, I'll give you one night to do this. If it doesn't work, we're going back to the way we do things. So we hype. We tell everybody in Boston, yo, we doing a funk night, right? Everybody come down, pack the place out, bro. It was a line around the joint, all the way down to the pizza spot. If anybody knows Wally's, there's a pizza spot on the corner. It was a line all the way down to the pizza spot. We got in there, we smashed. We had trumpet players, sax players, all that stuff coming in while we were playing the funk jazz stuff. And at the end of the night, Wally's counting all the money, and they looking, they like, whoo, we had a great night. So Wally's like, from now on, funk night. So ever since then, Wally's had a funk night. Like, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember, but you know, I can say that we were partly responsible for helping change the vibe at Wally's.
Yeah. When you were at Berkeley, did people have different ideas of what they were going to do after getting whatever education they wanted to get from there? Did you have people who say, I want to go on tour, I want to produce, or I want to like teach, or whatever the case may be? Or was everybody kind of zeroed in on like the same goals?
Good question, man. Like, I met some of the dopest musicians at Berkeley, man, which really helped change my whole life and my whole perspective on the music business, and just being like getting out there and trying to be a successful musician. Because I was around Abe Laboriel Jr., amazing drummer. Abe plays with Paul McCartney now. Abe
Yeah.
was already playing with people back then because his dad, senior, but not to say that he got famous, because of his dad, but he was a great drummer.
Yeah.
And there were certain gigs that he couldn't do that I would be able to do. And because Abe was like first call on a lot of stuff that was going on. When I got there, he was like the man. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta be like second call behind this guy whenever anything happens. But shout outs to Abe Laboriel. But he pushed me, like I was like, man, I gotta get on his level, because he's like doing it all. And you
Wow.
got Sting and people like that looking at him, and some cats will be calling him to come on the road while he's at school. And I was like, yo, this dude is gigging like serious. Cats like who else was there? Chris Laughlin, my boy from Philly, my boy Kimball, who was playing trumpet, Richard, who was playing sax, Taku,
Oh
who plays
yeah.
percussion. Matter of fact, me and Taku used to play with Tevin Campbell. I got him Tevin Campbell's gig in LA. Alex Evans, I talked to him last night. He was on bass. So just so many dope musicians from different places around the world. Imagine being in this institution with just, you got Japan, people from Japan. Hey, Indonesia in here.
Yeah.
People from India, people from Brazil, and all of us are like hanging out with each other. We're learning each other's style. They want to learn funk stuff from me and gospel. I want to learn, you know, Brazilian music from them. Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters was there for a while. The Rock Boys, I'd hang out with the Rock Boys and just sit down and watch them playing double bass and all that stuff. And it opened my head to a whole nother world. So that's why I love the fact that I did go to Berkeley. I only went there for 2 years, and I had already known what it was that I wanted to do. You know, after 2 years, I was like, all right, I know what I want to do.
Okay, so, and this was what I also think is very interesting. You mentioned earlier about R&B, like how when you were in Atlanta, like mid 90s, early to mid 90s, you were involved in a lot of the R&B stuff. And that was like I wasn't here during the time, but I know the music from the time. And you've got your So Def situation, you've got your LaFace situation, you've got your Rowdy Records situation, and that's all in Atlanta happening. And you
Right.
also have the building of the Atlanta soul scene as well. You know, you got that thriving.
Right.
You know, with
Algebra,
India,
Anthony
Algebra,
David, you know,
Dion. I mean, yeah, you know,
Masiki. They had a group called Fa, Joy, Follow for Now,
yes, yeah,
rock band with David Ryan
Ryan
Harris.
Harris, yeah,
I mean, you know, then you have my band, The Chronicle,
yeah,
you know, who helped like push the whole live band thing in Atlanta. There were live bands here, don't get me wrong, because Atlanta could get real sensitive about, you know, their music. So I'm like, no, I didn't come here and change nothing, but I just added to what Atlanta had already had. You know,
yeah,
Keisha Jackson, Big Vic, Omar Phillips, rest in
yeah,
peace. So many cats. Chance on keys, who we did Don't Let Go together with it for Involved, with Organized Noise. A lot of great musicians in Atlanta. Sonny Emery with Earth, Wind and Fire.
yeah,
Sam Sims lives here. Mars Pleasure, with Earth, Wind and Fire. Vance Taylor, who's still playing with Frankie Beverly and Maze. Like some of P-Funk members here. Like some of James Brown's bands here. Like Atlanta is a melting pot of amazing musicians that Cameo. You know, Larry Blackman used to come down and see us play at Yin Yang Cafe, the spot we used to play on Thursdays. He used to come and hang out just like every night. He came up to me one night and was like, yo, I need to get you in Cameo.
wow,
It would almost happen, but it didn't. I think I was already on tour with Janet by then or whatever, so it didn't happen. But he actually reached out like maybe a few years ago. I think Jonathan Moffett couldn't do some gigs and stuff, so they reached out to me to try to come in and fill it. No, Jonathan was actually sick in the hospital. But I mean, just so many dope musicians in Atlanta. And I was like, when I moved here, I just saw a void that needed to be filled. And I was like, man, they're missing one certain thing that I'm used to getting when I was in Philly, like Black Lily and all that stuff, like Questlove and all of us, you know, we all used to jam at Black Lily and, you know, just the vibe of the church musicians playing in the city and stuff, and the live open mics and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I'm gonna start something and I'm gonna just blow it up, you know. And I was playing with Joy at the time as well. I was in her band. Dallas Austin was playing keys at the time, so we used to have a ball, man. Madonna used to come to the shows, and I mean, you know, it's just a lot of history. So I was like, I want to add something to what's already here.
yeah.
And that's how that whole live scene just started taking off even more by '94.
Yeah, I think it's real interesting to be able to have gone on tour with an Escape or one of those artists from So Def during that time, but at the same time playing with a Joy and with a Dion, because I know we talk about that band. I think that band is one of the illest bands that you had with Dion. I'm
Man,
like,
Van Hunt was in the band. David Ryan Harris, those two was playing guitar. Van was playing guitar and keys.
wow,
Shawn Michael Ray was playing bass. Who else was playing? Tommy Martin played. I think Tommy played some. Or if Tommy didn't play in Dion's band, Trina Mead, who was his lady at the time, was singing backgrounds with us at the time.
Wow.
But yeah, right.
Was Amp in that, or he wasn't in that?
No,
Amp
Amp was in Lucy Pearl with us.
Okay.
Amp
Oh
Fiddler.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story. I mean, we could talk about this stuff all night
Yeah,
long, man.
that's
It's a
crazy.
long history.
So was it from the Dion Ferris tour that you ended up going to Janet from there?
Mm-hmm.
So you could correct me if I'm wrong. You were already on tour with Dion and you got the call, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I called Dion that night, the night that they called me in my hotel room while we were running on Dion's tour. We were doing like a college tour to promote her record that was coming out. And yeah, it's funny because I called her that night and I said, Dion, guess who just called me? And she said, "What?" I was like, Janet Jackson's management called me to see if I can come and start playing with her. And she was like, "Boy, you better go." You know, she said that exactly. She was like, "John, you better take that gig," you know. And I was like, "Thank you so much." You know, I finished what we were doing, but like, cause I had to leave in like a few weeks or whatever. So, and that's when I started rehearsing with Janet. But shouts out to Dion. That's my girl. We still do gigs now. Yeah. And she's still phenomenal. Matter of fact, Funk Jazz Cafe, that's another thing that came out of the whole vibe. Me meeting Jason Orr when I moved here. Jason Orr actually had a big hand in like showing me Atlanta before I needed somebody to show me Atlanta because I didn't know nothing about Atlanta when I moved here. Yeah. And I met him and he was like, "Yo, man, let's do some shit." He had a band called Original Man and I was trying to help them like tighten up and things like that. He was like, "Man, come and help my band out. They need some help." Buzzy was playing drums, Maynard Jackson's son. Shouts out to Buzzy. And from then I was like crashing at Jason's place until I found somewhere to stay. And Jason was on his desk like carving out this thing. It was like a piano looking thing, and it said Funk Jazz on there, Funk Jazz Cafe. He was coming up with an idea for a show and like a festival he had in mind. And he was like, "Man, this is what I want to do. I want you to handle the music side of it, So the Chronicle, that was going to be the house band. And he was like, "This is the idea I got. We ain't never going to introduce who's going to perform. It's just going to be like whoever shows up, that's what, what it's going to be. And the audience will never know." And through the years, as every year it got bigger and bigger, bigger names started coming in and nobody knew. He never announced who was going to perform. So shouts out to Jason Orr, who was an intricate piece of my history as far as Atlanta and learning the city and learning how things move here and, and helping like cultivate my ideas as far as putting a band together and playing around town and then doing the Olympics. We did the 96 Olympics. They asked me to music direct that for, a bunch of artists, Casey and JoJo, Usher, Brian McKnight. So just a lot of stuff happened. And I got to give Jason Orr a shout out for being a part of that.
Wow. You got some 215 fam in the place saying what up?
Jay Jones, what up? Can't forget that y'all next door neighbor was one of the members from Pieces of a Dream. Oh yeah. So Pieces of a Dream, famous band from Atlanta, from Philly, La La La, and Grover Washington basically founded them, and they live right next door to me, so I would listen to them rehearse every night. Yeah, and I was a little boy back then. I was like real young teenager because we were living in Mount Airy. And I would hear them playing, boom, 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 the famous piece and stuff. Yeah. And I had my drums down there, so I was on the other side trying to jam with them. I know they heard me. I was banging away. Crazy. I wanted them to hear me because my whole thing was, I'm gonna get that gig. But Curtis Harmon, who their drummer was, still is a founding member. He was like an idol, like a god to me. I looked up like, wow, Curtis Harmon, you know what I'm saying? So shouts out to Pieces of a Dream.
Crazy. So when you went on your first world tour, like a tour that kind of took you away for a while, I want to get into kind of like the toll that a tour can take. Did you ever like just doing the live streaming thing that I've been doing, I've started to get to a point where I feel like I'm plateauing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When you're on tour for that long, does do you get to the point where I know you might get used to it physically, but do you get to the point mentally where you're kind of burned out, and how do you push through that?
You can get burned out. Like, for instance, the Velvet Rope tour that I did with Janet in '98. Uh, did we go out in '98? I think we went from, or maybe '97, I think, to '98. We did it
Okay.
for a whole year straight. We didn't come home at all. And so I was tired. They were tired. She was tired. You know, and some nights, like the last few shows we were having, she was just like, oh my God, I can't wait until it's go over. You know, it was the real truth, man. Like, we were getting tired. It was a hard grind for a whole year, bro. 12 months of nonstop shows, maybe 4 shows a week or something like that. I mean, but you build the stamina up, you know,
Yeah.
and but still, even building the stamina up, your body just sooner or later is going to break down. Your mind, your mental state is starting to break down. You get tired of seeing the same people every day. You know, you want to see your family,
Yeah.
you know, just everything. So it's a thing that you just got to go inside yourself and just see the end before you get there. It's
Yeah.
like when it starts, you're already looking at the ending mark. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is how long I got to go. So every day I'm just pushing through, pushing through. I
Does
mean,
that
you know,
does
it's,
that does that
uh-huh,
make it hard on relationships though? Like
absolutely.
I mean, so I mean, obviously there's the romantic side of things, but even like your relationships with, friends and stuff like that, I'm sure you just
Yeah,
kind of
your
fall out the rhythm.
family, my kids, you know, my daughter was born in '97. Like, it was hard. Like, I didn't even get to see her most of that year, you know. So it's hard on a family and relationship for any artist,
Yeah.
musician, singer, entertainer, ball player. You know, it's the job that we take. You
Yeah.
know, some people do 9 to 5s and they're away every day from 9 to 5 o'clock, you know, and then they come home for a few hours, they do the family thing, they go to sleep and start over again. It's different things, you know,
Yeah.
but it's the same. It's like
It
all
really
of us
is.
are away, you know, for a certain amount of time, but not away like all day, every day for months, you know.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know what that is like. I can imagine, but I mean, I just even going away for like a month or two. I remember right before the last tour, you were like, "All right, bro, I'm about to be out. I'll see you in like 6 months." I'm like, "What?" And
Right.
it was gone. It was like, "Yo, I'm in LA. This is where and then it was boom, 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 boom. I was
And it's
like,
fun. It's
"Wow,
funny, bro, because the last tour that I did with Janet, which was my deciding factor to let that whole thing go, was I just I I just didn't have it in my mind anymore. Like, I was like, man, I'm tired of being on the tour bus every day and every night. You know, like, that's
yeah,
home away from home. Your tour bus is your apartment or your home or your house, you know, and you're living with those people. Some people you know, some people you don't know as well. So y'all got to get along. That can be
yeah."
crazy. You know, Rodney Perry, what's up, bro? I did the
What?
Monique show with Rodney Perry, man. Funny
Oh wow,
dude, man. Good dude, good dude. Rodney, we had so much fun on that Monique show. I love you, bro. We had a good time. Rest in peace to Big Jim. You know, man, the Monique show was a whole party, bro. That was
really?
that was the easiest gig. But I mean, we worked hard, but we had fun, man. It was like a party from 7 a.m. till we finished taping, because we taped like 2 shows a day. We were probably done like 7, 8 o'clock at night, maybe
Okay.
later. But man, all day we take a break in between both shows. We all go to catering. You know, they playing music in the wardrobe, in the makeup room. You know, we had a ball, man. I know Rodney can
Oh,
attest to
Dre,
that.
what up, Dre?
Drum
Dre.
Dre Bombay, Philly's finest.
Yeah, it's
Man, that's
crazy.
me and man Dre. That's how we met when we were younger. Dre was playing drums, and him and Vidal, they were like my little brothers. Still are. I mean, I don't care how old they get. They still my little brothers. I don't care how many hits y'all write. Y'all still my little brothers. Um, but yeah, man. But yeah, that tour life, bro. I said, you know what? I can't do this whole tour bus thing too much longer. I mean, if I do it, it would have to be short term. I don't want to. I've done it for 30 years, man. Like I'm just over that. You know, if I can go out on the weekends and come home, I'm cool. I'm 48 years old now, man. I turned 48 in March, and 30 years of touring, man. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough. 30 years of touring can definitely take a toll on you after a while. And, you know, my tolerance level for BS and all that stuff is not as strong anymore. So
shout out to DJ Active, who just checked in with us.
Oh yeah, what up, Act? Act was on that tour too. Yep.
Crazy. So you mentioned the Monique show. I know you played on Queen Latifah's show too, right?
Oh yeah, that's my baby,
Dana. And then I know you did duets, right, as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know about duets because that only lasted for one season, but that was a great show. I wish that they could do another thing like that because there wasn't a platform like that after that again. But John Legend, what's her name? Set your bank on. What's her name? Somebody tell me what her name is. Little white girl that was on American Idol. Oh my God, I forgot.
Not Kelly Clarkson, right? Or
yes.
Kelly Clarkson. Okay.
Kelly Clarkson. Yeah. And Robin Thicke. So those three, John, Kelly, Robin Thicke, and it was one. What's her name from Sugarland? The lead singer from Sugarland.
Somebody out there. The lead singer from Sugarland.
Somebody tell me the lead singer from Sugarland, y'all. But she was sweet. She was a judge as well. And so man, it was cool because the judges, it was almost like The Voice, but the judges actually performed. Jennifer Nettles, thank you, from Nashville. They would interact with the artists that were on their team. They would do performances with the artists. So that was the one special thing about that show, and we had a ball, man. That was a really cool platform. Wow. Somebody said that was a great show. It really was.
Yeah.
Who's that? Follow the Lito.
What up?
Okay.
What so when you were doing television, was it pretty much the same type of thing in terms of the long production days or what have you?
Man, when you do TV, it's all day. Period. You know, but them TV shows, bro, that's the check. That is the good checks. I mean, because it's union, unless you're with BET. Sorry. I mean, BET's not union, really. You know, you get paid. You get paid basically a flat for a BET show. But if you do NBC, ABC, or any of those type, you know, big network, you're getting paid by the hour. So you know, after 8 hours on a TV show, everything goes up. You start doubling, and then after a certain time, it's tripling. So man, we would have days where Robin Thicke would be late or something like that. We just like, cool. Whenever you want to start, bro.
Right.
Because it's just every hour is just more money kicking in on our checks. Man, I mean that's big money on TV, bro. When you're doing shows like that, Jay Leno, Saturday Night Live, these are gigs where you can retire from, bro. Like my boys, the Roots, doing Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, they're good. And they're doing their shows on the weekends, their own shows on the weekends, you know. So the check is really nice. And that's why I said, like, now I'd love to do another TV show, like a NBC TV show, though, where the union scale is being clocked in. Yeah.
What up, Algebra? What up?
Algebra. There's your big sister. You know, I mess with y'all. Y'all like brother and sister, boy. And I'm like the daddy. I'm like, y'all behave.
What up to everybody checking in Paris? I saw Paris checking in. So that's what's up.
Justin Ellington. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
ATL to New York, man. Me and Justin, anywhere we go, it's like me and you. Me and you. Yeah. And I won't say no more, but we have a ball wherever we go.
That's what's up. I already know who I gotta hang out with them for sure.
Who say y'all? Algebra say y'all shut up. Yo, who's your daddy? That's funny.
So I want
That must be
there's
Craig. That's Craig.
you think so?
Yeah, that's Craig, definitely. What up, Craig? Next
Y'all are
level.
funny. Y'all are funny. Man, I want to I know Instagram is probably gonna cut us off in a little bit, but what I want to do, because there's some more I want to get into, and I've seen people's lives get cut right in the middle. I
Right.
want to go ahead and pause right here. Let
Okay.
me share this live, and then we'll resume. So everybody who's tuned in right now, we got a nice audience.
Come back.
Uh,
Jackie Clark. What up, homie?
Come back. I get to ask John about Prince. I get to talk about Stevie, two drummers, production,
Woo.
everything. I got it all lined up. So come right back. We're going to reset and we're going to give y'all some more so I can give y'all some good tidbits. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. See you in a second, bro.
This is brought to you by Harmless Harvest. Coconut water. All natural coconut water.
I got my
Don't
favorite
get
in here.
Vitaco. What is it? Vita Coco. Get Harmless Harvest. Coconut water. Organic coconut water. Y'all,
Corking.
this some good coconut water right here, y'all. This right here, thanks to my girl Nikki Lachey. She turned me onto this.
Okay.
Harmless Harvest. I got it at Publix. You can get it at Kroger, whatever like that. They need to endorse me now. Thanks. Yo,
So
when is your video coming out that we did together?
it's getting worked on right now.
Are you going to
Since
make an announcement right now and give them a heads up, or are you going to wait?
a soft announcement is that me and the big bro, we put together something nice. We mashed up two worlds strictly just for y'all. It's going to be something that gets, an exclusive presentation to all of you guys that are tuning in. What up, Avery? Oh,
Avery Sunshine.
oh.
So let's talk about Avery Sunshine's video that I did with her.
Yes.
Avery Denise White Sunshine. No, we shot her video in Chicago. It was cold as hell outside. And it's funny because she just hit me out of the blue and was like, John, I need a love interest guy in my video. You want to be that guy? I was like, me? She was like, yeah, you can act a little bit and everything. You got a personality. You could do it. So we went out to Chicago, had a ball. We shot the whole video in like a day or two. I know I was there for a day. I don't know how much more time they did after that, but Coney Rock.
Yeah.
You ain't say that, Avery. What did you say? How did you ask me? I want to hear what you said because I swore you. And I'll hit him later. But anyway, yeah, I had an amazing time shooting that video with Denise, Miss Avery. She said, not that. Oh God. Okay. Whatever you said, I was still your love interest in the video.
Yes,
Y'all
I
need to
remember
check it
seeing
out.
it. Yeah, it was dope.
Ugly. She turns into a monster, thinking that
Yeah.
I was trying to holler at another chick while we was at dinner. I pulled out my phone. I'm looking at it. She's thinking I was going to give her a ring at the table. We laughed the whole time, did we not, Denise? We laughed the whole shoot, like it was all day long. So we even shot it at what's that club what's the club in Chicago that we shot at, Avery? That it's not there anymore, but everybody used to play there on the South Side. It was
Wow.
one of the spots that everybody used to perform at. Where was the place that we shot at? The club. But anyway, yeah, so she turns the shrine. Yes.
Yeah.
She turns into a monster because she's mad as hell, thinking that I'm talking to some other chick. I didn't give her a ring. She thought she was going to get that night. So she's chasing me around the city. I'm running in my two-piece suit. I'm running. I'm trying to get away from her. I'm at the house. I get under the covers with my shoes on and the suit, trying to hide from her. That shit is hilarious. We laughed. I'm telling you, we had to keep stopping because we were laughing so hard. But Coney Rock is a genius director. He did my video as well. Thank you, Denise, for introducing me to Coney because he went ahead and helped me with mine. He did Space, the song we were playing with Stokely and Anthony David and music and Eric Roberson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shouts out to Coney Rock. Love you, Denise.
Yeah.
I got a
Thanks
chance
for
to play on
checking
some
in.
of her songs. It's always an amazing time playing with her. I play live with her a bunch too.
Yes.
Um, she's just such a light and such a beautiful spirit. That's my sis right there, like right here. She's one of them pieces in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, love her.
Wow.
It's nothing like playing with people that you love, man. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I love you. I love working with you. We don't have no problems. We mess with each other. I'm like your big bro, you know, and you know you can always call me if you ever need me.
Yeah.
And I'm there, man. If there's money involved or not, you know, I'm
Yeah.
just there because we fam. And I just love working with people like that, man. That's like at a certain point in my life, I said, that's what I want to do. I'm only going to work with people that I feel that vibe with. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to just be doing this just for the money. Like, it's other spiritual things connected with it than just getting paid now.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
know, so I encourage people out there, you know, you got to work and everything, you got to pay the bills, but spirit means everything as well. Like, you got to really feel good in your spirit about what you're doing.
Yeah. How do you get past those moments when there's a little bit of friction or something like that on the road? Does it just kind of play out over the next few shows or?
Ooh, see, now you're talking. Now you're talking. I mean, that's partly part of my reason for making decisions, and you know, not too long ago, as far as road stuff is concerned, you know, clashing with different individuals, personalities. I don't have time for that anymore. You know, I'm
Yeah.
like, look, I'll go home and go chill and play at the church or whatever. You know,
Yeah. For
it's
sure.
not that deep. Like, I really got. It has to be a balance of both things. You
Yeah.
know, like, I gotta feel good with who I'm playing with. So when I get on stage or whoever I'm with, I'm giving you 150% because I love you. I love the music I'm playing. You know, that's where I'm at now, man. If I die tomorrow, I know that I have, you know, put my best effort in and felt good about everything that I did. I didn't force myself on stage to just do it just to get a check. You know, there's a happy medium there. You got to find a happy, you know, a balance there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, in terms of playing with people you like, you've had you have a pantheon of people that you played with that everybody else is just kind of like, man, to be able to be around that type of wisdom and that type of, have those experiences. Most people don't get that in 2 lifetimes. I wanted to ask you about pick certain artists, and ask you about them in the
Yeah.
context of playing, because I know there are a lot of people tuning in that want to get some information from this talk that we're having. So within the context of the Songs in the Key of Life tour with Stevie,
Hmm.
um, you there were 2 drummers, correct?
Yep. Stanley Randolph and me. Yep.
So, in terms of drummers, the drummer is often heralded as that centerpiece of the band that makes things work. And, as many drummers as I know that I guess are still coming into who they are as a drummer and learning about space and pocket and everything like that. How do you have 2 drummers that coexist, in the same world in that type of environment?
Great question, Cam. Because every drummer is not fit to play with another drummer. That's the hardest thing to do, man. That's I mean, almost like playing with another guitar player, right?
Yeah.
Like, y'all got to have a certain gel where you don't step on each other's toes. You can be playing chords and I can be playing chords and my chords might not fit with yours, or you play chords and this is where you fix it up. You play the chords, I'll play the rhythm parts.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
make it make sense. If it's 2 guitar players there, why are you playing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
There's no sense in having 2 people playing the same thing. So when we got called to do this thing with Stevie, Songs in the Key of Life, mind you, Stevie played on a lot of those songs, and Stevie was known for like doing a lot of overdubs on those songs. So he did fills in different places. He might have played 2 different takes of drum tracks, and fused them together. So we were like, man, let's make it sound authentic like that. Me and Stanley had a long talk about it before we started rehearsing and stuff. Like, man, this ain't the type of gig where we need to be trying to chop each other's heads off. This
Yeah.
ain't that gig. This is a gig of unselfish playing.
Yes.
And the big picture is to pull off the sound of the Songs in the Key of Life record. So if you heard the record and you came and saw us live, you're hearing the record live. You know, we're keeping the authenticity of how do you say that?
Authenticity. Yeah.
Authenticity, yes.
Yeah.
Of the record. You know, play the record. I've always been a fan of that. Play the record, man. You know, we used to say, do a little hashtag, play the record. You know,
Yeah.
it's not about me at that point. I'm trying to emulate what Stevie was doing. I'm trying to play the little intricate hi-hat parts, you know, or play the little simple but funky fills that he was doing. You
Yeah.
know, like he was playing. I mean, it wasn't. Don't get me wrong. Stevie is an amazing drummer, but you know he doesn't play as much now. But you know, you've seen videos of him on tour playing at a segment in his show,
Yeah.
and he's killing double bass and everything. I don't know if y'all know how dope Stevie is on drums. So, but the stuff that he played on his songs were simple but complex. You
Yeah.
know, so you know, it was like that's a single stroke roll that's, you know, easy to play around, but it has to be in the pocket, it has to feel right. You know, so we try to emulate everything he was doing as a drummer, you know, instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna do me on this shit, you know, I'm gonna flip it. Nah, man, he don't want to hear that. And you know, he was happy because we approached it that way. So
Yeah.
he didn't have to say much to us. I think one time he said to me about a hi-hat pattern. You know, he was like, John, play the pattern like, you know, and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, that's dope. You know, like that's his mind thinking. So why am I going to say, nah, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it?
Yeah.
No, that you've already messed up with that, you know, train of thought.
Would you say that in terms of like really being a working musician that's out here always in demand, playing the record is one of the major keys to being able to stay gainfully employed?
Absolutely, bro. Janet, any of the people that I've worked with, George Duke, Stevie, Prince, of all people, which we'll talk about that, I'm
Yeah.
sure. They all want to hear the record first, man. They want to hear what they programmed or whoever programmed in the studio. Because remember, they've heard these songs thousands of times over, you
Yeah.
know. So you come in changing the kick or the snare pattern and stuff like that. Like, that's not DSMR, you know, DMSR or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that ain't Holly Rock, you know. You know, rock, Holly Rock, everybody running Holly Rock. Boom, 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 boom. You know, like you gotta get into that song like you were there recording it with them, you know, especially for live. So
Yeah.
I've always been a stickler as far as like playing what the record calls for, and then adding to that. If they ask for more, then you start pulling in your own personality as well. And that's why they call you for that. They call you
Yeah.
to play guitar because they want your vibe with what they've already had established, you know?
Got you. Got
Yeah.
you. So how do you make those decisions when they say, hey, John, I want you to open up on this part, or I want you to do something on this part? How do you make those decisions about what's too much, what's too little, or like, you know, those final decisions? Do you
Well,
go through it a couple times? Is it trial and error? What is it for you?
it's definitely trial and error, but then that's where your seasoning should kick in
Okay.
and tell yourself, you know, maybe you shouldn't play that, you know? Um, okay, I like what they did before I came in, so I'm gonna emulate what they had done already, and then see what happens if they want to take it to another level and then add some of my stuff as well. You
Yeah.
know, Brian Fraser, what up, bro?
What
Philly
up,
boy
Big
in the
Fresh
house.
Hard?
Yeah,
Everybody, gang's all here. That's what's up, man. I love
yeah.
it.
So it's a happy medium between putting your thing on it and giving them what they've already had from their own song.
Yeah. Are you looking for, when you're playing with an artist, are you looking for them to have a certain understanding of their own music? Or I know you've run into situations where probably an artist really doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing. And then
Right.
there are other situations where an artist has, you know, they
They're
say
right on.
everything.
They know exactly they know the snare rhythms, the kicks, and the electronic sounds and all. Like Janet, for instance, Brian will tell you too. He's worked with her. She knows every single sound in the song. And if you're not doing it, she's like, where's that little snare thing? You know, where's that kick pattern? Or, you know, where's that sound that I was used to hearing, you know, with Jimmy and Terry? Like, she knows her stuff. Not everybody knows their stuff. So really, some people are just like, just play the vibe and I'm cool,
Yeah.
Or some of them like for you to just change the whole thing up. Like, I'm tired of hearing what I've been hearing on this record for years. Do
Yeah.
something different. Like, give me something, a fresher approach to this, So, but most of the time, like a Prince made me tune my snare down. I don't use a really tight snare anyway,
Yeah.
unless I have to. But when I got in rehearsal with him, the first thing he did when we started a song of his, he came over and was like, "Yo, can you tune your snare down some?" And I
Wow.
took that joint down because he likes big fat snares.
Yeah.
Most of his songs are programmed with fat snares,
Yeah.
Lindrum snares. So I had to detune my snare, even if it felt a little uncomfortable for me, because that's not really how I'm used to hearing my snare.
Yeah.
But if that's what he wanted,
So
you got it, bro.
you said and obviously correct me if I'm wrong. You said that when y'all did that performance for the NAACP, that he sent you like a thing that was kind of like him tracking out like everything like
He did it
with
all on the keyboard. He sent us like a blueprint of what he wanted to do for the award show. So it was a 12-minute medley, and it's funny because I got it in my email and I listened to it, and it first started out the drums like like the cymbals and everything was, it was like super cheap sounding because he did it on his keyboard. It must have been
yeah
like a motif or something. I think he liked motif a lot. So he was doing the programming on the motif just to get us the ideas. But I took that idea and was like, I'm going to play it just like that. Because really, I'm thinking that's how he really wanted to hear it, but just, kind of threw it together without really, perfecting it more so. I'm going to let you hear it too.
yeah yeah I
And when
got
you
here
hear it, you're going to be like, it just sound like, somebody on a Casio thing going, like a little cheap programming, but I understood where he was going with it. And then like some of the other songs he cut up, which was like a tribute, like he wanted to do tributes to Aretha Franklin, um, uh, um, people get ready. What's his name? Curtis Mayfield.
yeah
Then he had a song that he had never released. I don't think it was like a 12/8 song, and I think he was playing drums on it. It sounded like he was like fumbling on a kit, with a cymbal, a snare, and a kick drum. And I was like, "Yo, I mean, this is soul stuff right here, bro. Like
yeah
you getting raw ideas from somebody like Prince, sent to your email. You're like." And they're like, do not share this with nobody. And it's funny because I got a recording of our rehearsal that I don't know who gave it to me. I think maybe one of the engineers or somebody gave it to me. And I was like, whoa, y'all recorded rehearsal? So I still have it now. I actually sent it to one like Sheila's guy, Sheila E's, one of her music director, Raymond, my boy, he was playing bass. And then I had posted it one time too while Prince was alive. And he goes on the internet and like searches for stuff that he, don't want on the internet. So somebody caught it. It might have been him. It could have been one of his team members, but because I put it on my SoundCloud. And
okay
then I posted it on my Facebook thinking like, oh, this is cool. It's just rehearsal.
yeah
Nah, they shut that joint down quick. And somebody texted me and was like, yo, dude, saw the thing on your Facebook, and so
yeah
they took it down. I was like,
yeah
okay.
shout out to Focus real quick who tuned in for a quick second
Focus.
yeah
Hold on. Is this producer Focus or
yeah
yeah, man? We
yeah
did Sinead O'Connor's joint together, man. Yeah,
what
we did Sinead O'Connor record with Shakespeare.
wow
I think I played on like 3 songs, and one of those songs I believe Focus was. I think it was just one song that Focus played synth bass on. We had put the track down. He came in, just smashed that joint. Was it one song, Focus, or was it more than one song with you? I think it was one song. He'll let us know. But yeah, we did. We cut that at Doppler Studios, man, with Shakespeare.
wow
Yeah.
that's insane yo
Yeah.
what was the next thing I was going to ask you? I was going to ask you about the heartbeat for let's get into the heartbeat
Okay.
for a second. When it comes to production, you know, drums is like essential, you know what I mean, to the art of production. And I feel like you've been able to kind of balance between the live as well as finer arts of programming drums in terms of understanding what sounds will give it that live feel or what's necessary.
Sonics.
Yeah,
Sonics is the word. Yeah.
the sonics. So when it came to the heartbeat, what was the sonic idea or the sonic blueprint that you had when you went into recording that?
Organic. I wanted everything to sound organic. And that's just how that whole record came about. The first session was in the studio jamming with me, Chris Daddy Dave on drums. We had 2 sets up. Pino Palladino, James Porzer played on it later because he wasn't at the studio that day. But we did a jam that night, and because they were in town with D'Angelo, they had a day off, and they were like, "Man, we want to go play somewhere or something like that." I was like, "Man, let's just go in the studio and like make it count." You know, so
Yeah.
I paid for the studio for us to go in there. We took a bunch of gear in there. And I said, man, I'm working on my record, and I'd love for us to do something that, could go on my record. So they're like, all right, let's just vibe out and see what happens. Melvin Jones came through. T. Lee was playing. Like, T. Lee played keys on some stuff, but on Space, he was just doing sounds. We were like, we don't want no chords on this vibe. Just do weird stuff. Like, don't do no chords because we don't want that getting in the way. We'll let Pino hold the bass down, the drums, do their thing, and Melvin will like just go nuts on top of it,
Yeah.
So it basically was a jam that I turned into a song.
Wow.
And I cut it up. And then like I found a piece that was like, okay, this is dope. This could be a chorus, this could be a little verse section right here. I'll break it down. And then the rest of the song, if you listen to Space on my album, The Heartbeat, the first song on the record, after the music's verse, all of that stuff is what we played all the way through.
Oh, wow.
The rest of the stuff, the beginning of it to the middle, is stuff that I just cut and made it into sections. But that from music's, it was like a bridge almost. Like music came in, we went to the groove again, and then the rest of the jam is what we did that night. So all of my record came together like that. Trey Gilbert, I got my boys from Atlanta to come in to do the other stuff. Trey Gilbert, Derek Scott, Phil Davis, T. Lee played on something else. I called Bam, Kenanaya now, Israel, who plays with Anita Baker now, used to play with Charlie Wilson, Gap Band, all like that. Detroit boy. So I needed some funk on one of the songs, so I got him to come in and play Moog. So it was that's how all that came together. I would call people like music, Shantae Can. I sent a vibe to her who what's his name? Aaron Harden from DC. Okay. He sent me a few ideas, and I heard one of them. It was just a little slow vibe with like a shaker and like a kick drum, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, Aaron Harden is a beast out of DC. And so I just went and cut drums on top of what he sent me and just kept it real simple. And then I sent it to Shantae. Well, no, Shantae, we were out one night, and I brought her in my car. I was like, check this out. Check this vibe out, because I knew it was perfect for her. Yeah. And she listened to it. That's going on. And she was like, ooh. And I was like, yeah, selling it, right? And she was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm hearing so many things. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. You can write to it, whatever you're hearing. She came in the studio. We finished the rest of it. She came up with the "It's your life, your time to shine," and then so she cut that. Then I'm like, okay, let's get music on this. So like kind of like a duet. Yeah. Music comes in, he does his part. I mean, so that's how the whole record came about. There was ideas that I had before I started that project that I pulled up. I called Nicholas Payton to play on top of one of them in New Orleans. So yeah, that was the vibe of that record, and I want to do another one just like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what's up with a Heartbeat 2 or something.
Definitely.
Okay,
it's coming,
cool.
And you're going to be a part of that for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pierre Madora's in here.
Checking in. What up, P? for everybody tuning in, I got my big bro, Lil John Roberts, the Lil John Roberts, and we're just giving you all some gems of knowledge as well as cueing you into his history. I know
Oh,
that.
Pierre said he want in. Please,
Ah,
Pierre. Come
yeah,
on, Pierre.
yeah.
Pierre for president. Man, Pierre, for real. Give me something, man. You know my vibe.
Yep,
Let's go. Cam's gonna be on it. So let's
yep.
come on. I need one for me. I did y'all a few of them. Come on, look out for Big Bro. Matter
For
of fact, we
sure.
did the first thing with you at Doppler. That was the first
Yes,
thing I played on for you.
yes, yes.
And
And that was like,
you were
was
calling
maybe
yourself,
hopefully.
what were you calling yourself back then?
It was Cameron Corvet back then. You met me as Jones though, years ago.
Jones. That's
Yeah,
what it was. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So Pierre was a part of that, man. That was cool. How many songs did I play on? Maybe 3?
Yeah, I think 3. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think 3. Man, maybe hopefully. Ooh, yeah, you went crazy on
I
that.
gotta hear that again. So
Ooh.
what year was that? You remember, Pierre? You remember?
2008
Okay.
or 9, 8 or 9, one of those.
That was
Yeah,
the
man.
same year I was out with Anthony Hamilton. He said 3.
Mm.
He said 2003? Oh, he
No,
said I
no, no.
played 3. Okay, I
Oh yeah,
played
yeah.
3. What year was that? Because he said maybe hopefully it was 2006.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, because
Wow,
I was on tour with Anthony Hamilton 2008. That was the year
wow.
that Michael died. Because I'll never forget, I was playing in Atlanta that night, and we were staying across the street from the Fox. And right after sound check, I went to change my clothes before the show, and I turned the news on, and everybody's like, "Yo, Michael Jackson died." I was like, "What?" I turned on the TV, and I'm seeing all his ambulance and stuff at his house and all. I was like, "Oh my God." I'll never forget that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
He said,
crazy.
somebody said, what project was that for
It's
you?
called Corporate Rockstar. Yep, yep.
That's
Maybe.
out, right?
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
streaming. The song is called Maybe Hopefully. One of the 3 songs, but the song where you will hear him go absolutely ham, just ham.
I got to hear it because I don't remember what I did.
Yeah.
I just know the vibes was flowing that night.
Yeah, it was for sure. Well, we always have a good time in the studio, which is
Oh man. Like this last thing we did, bro, this
yeah,
last project.
yeah, man.
Tell
It's
them who was on that.
man. So we did 6 records over at Parhelion. Shout out to Ralph over there at Parhelion. We did it was me, Lil Jon, Daryl Freeman on bass, Bruce Robinson on lead, and
Woo.
Pierre on keys and production.
Yeah.
Man. And the thing about it, man, I want to make sure music can be heard by as many people as possible. So, those records are just being fine tuned. In you for y'all checking in with us. If you go listen to a song by me, it's called In You. It's called In You, live from Kathy's basement. The reason I'm calling
In
it,
you.
yes, in dash you, yes, that is one of the 6 records that we recorded. So we're just making sure. Shout out to Pepper in Austin with the
Oh,
Hot Pepper
Pepper
Show.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's up, Pepper?
yeah.
I did an interview with her for my record as well.
Oh wow, yeah.
She
She's
plays
good people.
keyboards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she plays at church. She told me that.
Oh snap! Come on, Pep.
Jamila Simmons, what's up? Now, Jamila used to be on a Monique show with us too. She
Okay.
was doing makeup, and I was telling them earlier, Jamila, about the party we would have every day at the Monique show. It was not a job at all, really. I mean, we worked, but we partied more than we worked.
Yes.
Heart to
So
heart. Oh man, what's up?
what when it comes to generational talent and the greats of a generation, like if you consider basketball, you look at let's say a Dr. J, you look at Magic and Bird, and then you look at a Michael Jordan era, and then you look at a Kobe era, and then a LeBron era. When
Mhm.
it comes to musicians, the top tier musicians, they're always aware of the other top tier musicians, including the up and comers. And you've been a mentor to a lot of the drummers who have come behind you and helped them kind of navigate, because I think it's very telling, because I've seen drummers come and go. I've
Mhm.
seen drummers who are super talented and everybody's been like, oh, they're going to be next. And it might be a personality thing or a habit thing that keeps them from being involved. So there's also this kind of thing, even in music in general, where we don't have this connection between the generations of talent to kind of help make sure that the talent is always functioning, like that the craft is always functioning on this level,
A
you
high
know,
level, yeah.
because there's of competition, ego, you know, certain things that are in place. But I
Yeah,
feel like you've been a great conduit for being able to have respect and reverence for the drummers that have come before you, as
absolutely.
well as, you know, imparting knowledge on drummers that come after you in order
Hmm.
to make sure that that the craft is still maintaining on a high level. How do you know who you want to really invest a little time into in terms of making sure they've got your number, or that you know you keep track of what they're doing? What is it that you see? Like, do you find yourself giving drummers that you invest time into like the same piece of advice, and what would that advice be?
Man, you got some crazy questions, Cam. I mean, dope, really dope questions. Between bridging the gap between an older musician and the younger generation of musicians, I've always tried to make time for the younger musicians. And if you ask a lot of them, they'll probably tell you. Even some of them that I don't know, they're hitting me in my DM or in my Facebook inbox or whatever, asking me questions every day, all day, you know. And sometimes I answer and sometimes I don't, just because, you know, sometimes I just don't have the energy and I'm busy. Sometimes you know, because once I start talking to you, I'm gonna keep going, you know,
Yeah.
like we doing now. Um, but there are certain ones that stick out to me.
Okay.
I had a conversation with one last night that actually we had a little quarrel, and
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I said something on a comment and on one of my boys' posts, and I said something about the young generation. I said, you know, the young generation, you know, no bueno. Like I'm really not messing with them like that. But I didn't mean all of them. I just meant a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the young boy came on and said a whole bunch of stuff, and he was like, "You an OG, and you supposed to be showing us." Da, da, da. And we went back and forth, you know. Outside of that, we went on a DM and was going at each other, you know. And you know, I said, "Man, you out of line, you disrespecting in front of everybody, all this kind of stuff." He was like, "Well, let's talk about it." You know, he was hype. He from the West Coast, you know, so he was hyphy, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, a little hothead. I went ahead and called him. I was like,
Okay.
man, I really don't want to call this dude. I don't know who he is, but he got a hot head. He got a fast mouth, you know. I said, man, what's the problem? He said, man, you know, we look up to the OGs like you, man. And for you to say something like that, it just makes us feel like, you know, we don't have no hope and everything like that. And I said, I understand, because at first I wanted to get in his ass. I really wanted to tell him about himself because I felt disrespected the way he said it. But it was just the way that he said it, you know. And I told him, and he apologized. And we kept talking, you know, and I'm glad I did this because I got a chance to understand how a young cat like him looked at me, like somebody that they revere and they look up to and respect. To make a comment like that, it let me know I got to watch the things that I say, because, you know, a lot of people are watching. You never know who's taking whatever you say and running with it, or you could give them influence to try to kill themselves or something. You know, you could,
Yeah.
any little thing I could say, oh my God, this coconut water is the best water I've ever had, and all of them will go buy it, you know, just because I'm drinking it, you know.
Yeah.
And he told me that. He's like, man, you know how it is. If you go switch to a cymbal company, all of us gonna follow you. If you go to a drum company, we gonna follow you, you know. And I was like, wow, I gotta be careful of the things that I said. I said, man, I apologize. From now on, I'll make sure I'm representing y'all too, you know. And if y'all
Yeah.
ever need me for anything, I'm there. And I've been there, but I just, that one little thing that I said, a little
Yeah.
simple remark about the young generation. You know, I was really responding to somebody else's thing that they were saying too.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of co-signed with them. But for me to say it, it blew it up into a whole nother thing. And all these young guys took it and ran with it. It was like, oh man, see, that's why the OGs be talking down to us, and, you know, we ain't got no hope. And, you know, I'm like, nah, that's not what I meant, bro. Like, I've taken a lot of y'all in. A lot of these cats that's on the road now, I mentored a lot of them since they were young.
Yeah.
I taught the Spankies and all of them in Philly. I use Spanky all the time because he's a prime example of one of them that has never turned on me, has never acted any better than me, even though he's a better drummer than me now, you know. He's learned a lot of the stuff from me. And then took it and turned it into what he's doing now, which is phenomenal. But he always pays respect to me, you know, and a lot of them do. There's other ones that don't have as much respect. They take what they can take from you and they run,
Yeah.
you know, and they'll go and be successful and everything and forget all about you. I made it a point never to forget my mentors. If you've seen any of my posts, any of the stuff that I put out there, I say, man, much love to Dennis Chambers, much love to Omar Hakeem, you know, Tommy Campbell. I see Cindy Blackman is in here.
Yeah.
What's up, sweetheart?
What up, Frank McComb, as well, for checking in.
Frank McComb, yeah. So I always make it a point to honor my ancestors and my mentors that came before me. And I tell these young guys, I'm like, man, you ain't playing nothing new under the sun, and neither are we. It's something that's been passed down. It's a legacy that all of us are jumping onto and playing. Cindy Blackman, she learned a lot of Tony Williams stuff. She sounds like Tony Williams, but she sounds like Cindy Blackman as well. But you can tell the influences, and she always pays homage to Tony Williams. You know, so for instance, since she's in here and she knows what I'm talking about as far as respecting the people that came before you.
Wow.
So that's a good question. I hope I answered it, because you know.
Yeah, no, you did. I had somebody kind of, you know, no, it, because it's like you want to. There are a lot of things as an artist and as a singer I had to just learn because I wanted to seek the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And I think when things are at our fingertips, we don't put the work in sometimes to seek the knowledge, you know, of experience. Like, I mean, shoot, bro, you took me to see Tower of Power, bro. Tower of Power, bro.
Yeah.
Tom Jones, bro. Like,
right.
So my first ever time hearing a Tom Jones song is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when Carlton's dancing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me to be able to have that experience, it connected with me on a whole different level. One, because I'm in a place like Chastain Park and I see all these different people, and we were like sitting in the center, so I could see and feel the energy. But then at the same time, to have experiences like meeting people backstage. You know, I remember we went to see Rob Thomas, you know, and
my boy
Abe was playing drums. And I'm like, yo, are you the same Abe from the D'Angelo Live in London? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yo.
And Guy, all of that, man.
Frank,
you know, I mean,
you know?
like, you gotta respect the cats that came before you, man. When I go see these guys and they still playing too, man, I mean, I'm not kissing their ass or nothing, but I'm definitely giving them love and respect for what they've done. They paved the way for us to come behind them, you know, just like we have been doing for the ones coming behind us. You know, it's a continuum, man. It's a continuous legacy. Like I said, I always say you pass the baton to the next guy, you know, and that's how our legacy keeps staying alive, you know?
Yeah. Wow. So when it comes to interpreting a record that's out that has been, let's say, programmed, how do you make those decisions? I posted earlier your interpretation of the 777 joint, which I
hate that video too. I mean, because they put me on the spot when they asked me that question. We were taping like a documentary style, you know, drumming thing that while I was on tour with Janet, and I didn't think nothing of it. And he hit me on the spot with that question. What's one of the drum patterns that, you know, you thought was like difficult or like, you know, historic or whatever like that? And I'm like, 777 is one of them songs that came to mind, you know? So I tried to play it on the spot, but I hadn't played the song like I should have, really, like I know it now, you know, because once I put that out and everybody saw it, all the drummers started playing 777. Then they started dissecting it and learning the real way to play the song. So I was like, oh God, that makes my video look like crap, you know, because I didn't play it exactly like the record. I know how to play it now because I practiced it more after that. But that video is still out there, and when people repost it or whatever, I'm like, no, that's not it.
Damn. Next to Cam. But look, you got to look at it in this way, though, right? That first posting of the video inspired people to go in, to dive into the song, and it inspired a deeper understanding of the pattern. So you got to, you know, that doesn't happen.
And then I put the claps in it, which nobody was doing. Like, try to play the song with the claps on it on the pad, you know, which
Yeah.
was another level of hard to do. Like ask J-Rod, who did a video of it recently, and now he put the pad in there, but he got it all the way down, so it sounds exactly like the record, you know.
Wow.
But
So
yeah,
how do
I'm
you?
happy to influence and inspire
Yeah.
people like that.
So how do you interpret when you're going in and let's say somebody has sent you a demo and it's got some programmed drums on there and they
Mm-hmm.
want you to come in and they want you to make it into a thing. You know, do you start with the basics of the pattern? Like, does it transition pretty easy to a live set from what you've heard?
Yeah, I've always wanted to try to, you know, emulate the programming. That was one of my things, like, especially when I was at Berkeley, I used to practice for hours trying to play the programmed drums and make it sound like, you know, exactly like that, like as a drummer. Because at one point in the industry, the drummer was getting fired and the drummers got replaced with drum machines for a while. You know, in the 80s,
Yeah.
all that electric stuff, they were programming that stuff. And I think because a lot of the drummers just wasn't tight enough for some of the producers, and they wanted a tight electronic sound, perfect, quantized, you know.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, and I started talking to older drummers, you know, that I looked up to, and they were like, yeah, man, you know, the drum machines are taking our gigs, you know. But, you know, it can't take your gig live. You have to play it live. So
Yeah.
there has to be a happy medium between being able to play the song live, just like the record, and going in the studio and playing it just like it's programmed, but still
Yeah.
with a human feel. Because drum machines don't have a human feel. They're getting close. I mean, they've gotten
Yeah.
close for the last few years, but at one point it was just all, you know, it was like robotic. And
Yeah.
those songs, like even like for instance, like Mtume and songs like that. Like it had a lot of hi-hats. I'm curious. You know, perfect.
Yeah.
Like no flaws in the drums. Like it's all, if you look at it on the screen, on the grid, it's all
Yeah.
landing on the right, you know, quarter notes and eighth notes and sixteenths. So that inspired me to go in and practice and try to get as tight as I could with those beats. And then when you go in the studio with certain producers, they trying to like hear kicks and snares lined up perfectly. You know,
Yeah.
not the program's here and you're here, or you're here. Like they
Yeah.
trying to hear the kick and the program kick there, or the snare, all of that straight down the middle. Like no flamming, not.
Yeah.
They trying to hear boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Like, and you could see it on the grid if you're behind or if you're ahead. You know, I mean, you know, some cats are really strict with that, and then some cats are more lenient because they're like, I want to have that loose, you know,
Yeah.
human feel. So you got
Yeah.
to be able to do both.
Man, it was so crazy because I remember singing even vocally from a pocket standpoint. I remember going to Detroit and I spent like 2 weeks with Slum Village, and they pretty much like when we go in the studio, I'll be singing. They'd be like, "Yo, you on the beat, bro? Like you're on the beat." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on the beat." They like, "Nah, bro. Like
Nah,
you got to be off the beat. You got to be like a little bit
a little
behind. Like
behind.
even
Yeah,
when drummers like really nail being a little bit behind the beat.
right,
Oh
right.
man, it's not
Questlove
an
is the
easy
king at
thing.
that. My boy Questlove is the king at that, man. I mean, he's a special drummer, you know, and he hates when I say stuff like that, but I'm like, dude, he know what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like sloppy, we call him sloppy tracking.
Really?
And you know, like for instance with D'Angelo, you know, D'Angelo liked the beat to be, you know, real loose, but not too loose where it's like not tight, but
Yeah.
loose enough that the vibe is still, you know, if you listen to this,
Ugh.
you know, that stuff is loopy. You know,
Yeah.
it's not going, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
but it's still in time, you know. And
Yeah.
Quest talks about that in some of his interviews. If you pull it up on YouTube and stuff like that, he talks about tracking, you know, the stuff in the studio with D'Angelo. It's an art, man. We call it sloppy tracking. And
Wow.
you know, George Clinton, all of that stuff from back in the day had that loopy feel, but it was still funky.
Yeah.
It wasn't straight on top.
So how did you learn? How did you learn that? Is that experience?
Yeah, you just got to play around that,
Yeah.
man. Like it's manipulating the beat and the
Okay.
rhythms. The hi-hat might be straight, the kick might be a little behind, the snare might be a little ahead. It's just how you manipulate that feeling. So it's an art to it, definitely.
Wow. All right. So, how much of that did you apply to, let's say, Seal? Because I know that that was, more or less a recent run of doing some shows with Seal. I know you all were kind of in a big band setting, but when I think about like Crazy or Kissed by a Rose, I do have, I hear a certain type of feel. So how were you all able to bridge those two worlds together?
For one thing, I've always wanted to play with Seal since I was at college. That first record with him looking like this, with his legs. I always wanted to play with Seal. I always respected his music, his voice, unique. So this was a great opportunity for me. My boy hit me last year, Eric Wortham from Philadelphia, who's his music director. And he said, yeah, man, I want you to come and hit this thing with us with Seal, man. He's like, but it's not the regular stuff that you know. It's like he did a whole big band album as well. So he sent me the music. I was like, yo, he sounds like Frank Sinatra on this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just his evolution as an artist, going into doing big band stuff that sounds like Sinatra. And so half of the show was the straight ahead jazz stuff, and then the last half of the show, which is Queen Latifah, is like that too. Her half of her show is the classic R&B stuff,
Yeah.
Simply Beautiful, just different songs like that she's done. Hard Times. Um, and then the second half of her show is all hip hop. She pulls out all her hip hop stuff, and then we get crazy on that. But for Seal, the big band stuff's first, and then the second half is the pop stuff with him. So once we get to that pop stuff, the crowd is just going crazy. But they're
Yeah.
going crazy off of his big band stuff first, because a lot of them are surprised. I mean, his record is out, and all of them, they're familiar with it. But some people are familiar with him singing straight ahead jazz stuff like that. So
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Charles Lamont who just popped in.
What
Appreciate you,
up,
bro.
Charles?
Uh, so what's up with Stripped? Let everybody know what Stripped is, the platform, because I've been a part of it. It's a
Yeah.
good opportunity to break that down for everybody formally.
Yeah. So I wanted to do something different, and jump away from just playing regular drums. And I had done this before, like in high school, a long time ago. Matter of fact, I'm trying to find this picture where me and my boys were playing like marching band style in a band. I would play maybe quad toms and stuff like that. My boy was playing snare. My other boy was playing kick, bass drum, and the other guy was playing cymbals and all like
Oh,
that.
wow.
We pulled that together like a small marching band, but we were playing like all the hip hop stuff back in high school like that. It's an old picture I got to show you. It's funny too. It's a black and
Wow.
white. My hair was looking like Chris Rock back then. It was wild. But so I wanted to do it again, and then I saw Kanye and my boys playing drums with him, and I was like, yo, that's the stuff I was doing in high school with the drummers like that. No cymbals, because Kanye doesn't like cymbals. Facts. Like my boy Spanky and all of them that play with Kanye, he would tell them, man, get rid of those cymbals. I don't want to hear no cymbals. And I
Wow.
understood what it was. He just wanted to hear the root of the drums, like the bottom, the bass drums and the snares and cracks, just boom, 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 kind of like sounding like taiko drums, like the
Okay.
big, taiko drums that the cats be playing with the big sticks and all. And that's a vibe with no cymbals. All you just hearing like the root and the heartbeat, no pun intended. The heartbeat of the song is just that boom, 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 boom. No cymbals getting in the way. So I said, man, my boys are doing this with Kanye, and it sounds dope. I want to do this, but I want to incorporate a full band and do like R&B stuff, more so like what we do with you. And
Mm-hmm.
I made sure I found songs that fit the vibe. We did it with Algebra. She's got
Mm-hmm.
some songs that got heavy drums. So every artist that I pull into the strip thing that we like to feature, we pull the songs that sound the best with that configuration. So I love it. It's a lot of fun. So it's 3 of us playing drums, and then we have the full band, bass, drums, and keys, guitar as well. And
Yeah.
then we have cats like you know,
Yeah.
featured. Tony Tatum is a part of the whole situation, and he's like a partner with me in it. We've had Algebra, we've had Carrie Epps.
Yeah.
Who else have we had?
Kitty Camille.
Kitty Camille. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to showcase
Yeah.
a lot of Atlanta artists since we're here, but I wanted to take it to another level and start adding, you know, Dougie Fresh. We talked about doing it. We were going to do it at City Winery actually before COVID started.
Oh wow.
And then I have some other artists. Sheila E was also, we were talking with her about doing it as well. So like the possibilities are endless of how we can do it. So yeah, once this is over, we get past this
Yeah.
COVID-19 thing, I'm jumping back into that again. We went to DC, Smash, you was there with us. We did City Winery in DC, and they loved it there. You know, so I was actually getting ready to start booking a lot more shows with Strip.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too much longer because I feel like I didn't given them enough jewels for themselves. The rest of the stuff they gonna have to figure out. But I do want to just wrap up real quick. And before I wrap up, I want to say I appreciate you for letting me, you know, chew your ear off for a while. I know
Absolutely, man.
a lot of people have been like, "Yo, this is a really great talk. I really appreciate it." So that makes me know that, you know, I'm doing the right thing. So I appreciate you being one of the first to jump on
Pleasure.
board.
You got great questions.
Thank you, bro.
So I know this is a new platform for you, but you should definitely keep this rolling because you as an artist already know how to speak to an artist and ask the questions, and you just know, you know, where to go as far as like what to ask. So that makes it easier for us to just embellish on that and elaborate on everything else around it. So
Man,
thank
I
you, man.
appreciate it. No doubt, no doubt. We had a lot of people tuning in, you know, a lot of big names. So, you know, I appreciate that. And I wanted to give you, you know, some time to just kind of promote the Heartbeat and everything else like that. Say anything you want to your fans before we, you know, check out of here.
Yeah, so the Heartbeat album is on iTunes, you know, whatever digital platform that's out there. It's my only debut record, so give me some time. I'm trying to get this stuff together so I can do another one. I've been giving my energy into everybody else's stuff right now, so, and I'm cool with that. So timing is everything. I always say that, you know, it's a big motto of mine, and I stand behind that. So timing is everything, and when it's time to get this second project out, we're gonna get it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up, bro. Shout out to everybody who tuned in all over the world. This is Lil John Roberts. I'm Kameron Corvet, and this has been Kandid. I'm going to, you know, take some clips. It takes a second, but I'll take some clips and post them so people can see what's up. And I'm going to save the interview as well for the archive. So, man, this was a great talk.
Oh, yes. Friday, if y'all go to Atlanta Jazz Festival page on Facebook, they're doing live streaming every night, actually. You can even watch it tonight at 9 o'clock. I'll be on there with the Senators, who, you know, my boys, the Senators, Trey Gilbert, Derek Scott, and Phil Davis. We'll be playing some songs on there for 30 minutes on Friday night at 9 p.m. Atlanta Jazz Festival Facebook page.
Okay, cool. Make sure y'all check out the big bro and the other big bros on Friday. That's gonna be crazy because man, that's gonna be crazy. It always is. We will holler at you guys later. I'll hit you up offline, John, because you know how we talk offline.
Absolutely. Can't wait till we get back to the cigar bar, man.
Man, bro.
Come on, COVID, be gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best over here. Got me feeling like I'm in some type of emotional state because, you know, all this time by yourself, you start losing a step. But
hang in there, brother.
We'll be
do your meditations and everything. Woosah.